So welcome to class today. Um, for today's class, we are going to try and put together what we have learned so far in this session, which is the painting of our tree, and then the painting of our brindille, or twigs, or weeds, or grass blades. And I did do one example of what it could look like. And I'll show you this example in a minute. We will start the class, however, using our drawing material. So we'll use our sketchbook and our pencil. And we will do a few quick sketches, interpretations of a number of photos that I have. And then after that, we'll have a little discussion about these, about how we did our own interpretation, and then we'll move on from there. So the example that I prepared, not sure if this is what I actually want us to paint, but anyway, I put together our twig class in our tree. So it looks like this.
Ooh, very nice.
Yes.
So you can see our tree here, little smaller than before, but going out of the frame of the paper this way and this way, meaning it's in the foreground, it's really big. We have the grass here on this side. This can be viewed as a little road, but it could also be viewed as, maybe a little creek here, because these are, this is grass that usually grow in a marshy area, so it could be viewed as this. And then maybe this grass could spill over here. I kind of did not completely finish this on purpose so that there is room for your own imagination when you paint it. And there's the mountains in the back. I left this completely bland. I mean, I think to finish it, there would have to be maybe a few little trees in the background here, maybe a few blades here in the front. If this is a creek, if you make this into a creek, then you probably would need to see a little bit of reflection. If this is a road, then you don't need to. But anyway, so that's an example of what it could mean to put together, our grass and our tree. But I've realized that you guys are becoming somewhat lazy. Did I say that out loud?
No, we are
Just
not.
following my lead all the time. I would like you to use your own creative matter and your own creative juice to try and interpret some photographs that I'm going to present to you.
Okay.
And first, I'm going to go through the photographs, and you'll see some of them are like, ah! And some of them may appeal to you more than others. So as we go through them, then you can try to note which one you like most. And after we are done going through them, there's just a few, then we're going to choose 4 of them. Okay. And then we're gonna draw, we're gonna do a little thumbnail. We're gonna start with one, and then eventually we'll move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. All right. So if I share my screen, then I can show you these photos. Oh, I have a photo. I have this. So this is the picture I was showing you earlier. It's very simple. It's not necessarily a grand masterpiece, but it's something, an exercise to put together 2 techniques and try and group them together. All right, so here are the photos that I put aside for you in no particular order. So in each photo, well, this one is actually crooked, but anyway, in each photo, I tried to have a foreground element. In this case, you can clearly see here on the left, all this grass that could, where we could utilize our technique to do all of these twigs. And then there are trees everywhere, all around on either side. In which case, you know, if we were to use something like this, then we'd have to decide where is it that we're going to put our single tree and paint it. And you know, if we were to decide to take something like this, then, you know, we could decide to crop it, for example, and maybe do something like this. Oh, maybe like this. So this way, you know, then it's less of, can you guys still see me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's less than, you know, everything. We don't necessarily need to be overwhelmed with everything. So when it's time to do our, you know, our little sketching, then think about the fact that you can crop in and use certain elements. So I'm going to cancel out, leave without saving. Okay. So think about, you know, just using some elements of the photo rather than everything. So try to be picky. So I'm going to put you here. I'm going to show the next one. In this one, there's more room for the tree here. There is some grass in the foreground, and I know it's not marshy little twiggy grass, but you could still use this foreground to put your twigs, and then you know, show the water in the background. Maybe maybe you show the very far away mountain or not. And this tree, although very bare and we can hardly see any foliage, you can add nice foliage. And then there's these little rocks. So the tree on the left could be there. You could crop in. You could decide to crop out a little bit. These are photos that we will be utilizing for inspiration. This one, excuse me, is clearly a marsh. And although the twigs here in the foreground, they're somewhat short, you could decide to make them longer and more bushy and just indicate a little bit of water here. Or maybe you can crop in on this photo. But what I like is it's got this little house, and that becomes the center of attention because that's where the highest contrast is. So you can crop into a section like this. Now here, to put the tree in, so there are trees in this area, you could potentially cheat a little bit and put the tree a little, you know, here, like the foot of the tree here, and in which case our tree would be a lot smaller. Or could, you know, crop in like this, maybe. Ooh. So crop in like this, maybe. Not so much. We don't want so much sky. We want the horizon line to be 1/4. And so now we still have the little twigs. They're very short and they could be made very long for the purpose of our exercise. You still have the little house. That's very simple. And then you could put a tree like somewhere here in the grass. So lots to think about when doing this exercise, but you're just going to do little thumbnails. So if the thumbnail doesn't come out, then you can do another one. In this case, this grass that we see is clearly grass that is on the side of the water. In this case, it's all mud flat. The water is receded because it's low tide. And there's a lot of elements here. If you're going to choose this, then you can choose to crop in. You can choose to leave out a lot of the elements. You don't have to indicate all of these fences and garage and boat sheds and, you know, because see this little house here in the left? This is the candy house that's on Route 138 going towards Gloucester.
Oh.
An element that's quite interesting. So anyway, with something like this, you know, you could crop in like, I was thinking maybe something like this. would be interesting. So maybe you could do something like this. And now you have this tree. It's a grouping of tree, but you could make it into a single tree. And then you'd have the little house, nice sky. And then you have this grass here in the foreground. You can make it taller and touch this other grass, and therefore you wouldn't have to necessarily indicate the mudflat in between. So, or you can do the whole thing if you feel like you can, but you won't have much time. So you might not be able to capture the whole thing.
Ooh.
And
Ooh,
this,
Yeah, that's nice.
yeah, this is Little River. Now this is the same in the same area as the previous photo. This is just, see this little boat here on the right hand side, the white little rowboat? Well, it is in this other photo. This is it.
oh my goodness.
Yes. So depending on the angle that you take your photo, you can capture a totally different scene. So this is the demonstration that I did for the Champsardat Society. So this is the scene, but in the Champsardat Society demonstration, this was full of water. So this is low tide, all mud flats, and then when it's high tide, it's all covered with water. So this scene, I never cease to want to paint it. I love this design of the creek. Now, if you were going to choose this one, there's grass in the foreground here, and you could make this water, but then if you make it water, you have to indicate the reflection. But you can crop in, and you could decide to put a tree right here, because on this side, on the left, there are houses over here with trees on the side, on either side of them. So anyway, that's another one. And this one here, I think more of an overcast day with a very gray sky, and even the grass is a little grayish. So there's nothing very formal here, and one might think, yeah, this is not very good, but there's lots to do with this. And this was a little bit the inspiration, what I used for the inspiration to do the one that I did, the example. So all of this, although it doesn't necessarily look like marsh grass, you could make it into, the kind of grass and twigs that we have practiced. And then there's no tree in the foreground, but you can put one somewhere. And there's little houses if you like to include little house. You don't necessarily have to include everything. Just think it, keeping it simple. This one here is on a very sunny blue day, blue sky day. And you can see here in the foreground, look at all these beautiful twigs. So if you were to choose this one, you definitely want to exclude this railing here. This is like a fence, or maybe, no, I think it's the sewer. So you want to exclude this pipes here that are in the foreground. And, to make it simple, you could just put the marsh all the way to the water and exclude all these rocks here on the right-hand side. I mean, you can make it, interpret it the way that you want. This red building here is the North Shore Arts Association in Gloucester. And this is the back of the North Shore Art Association. So on the other side of what we see is their parking lot. That's on Pirates Lane in Gloucester. Anyway, so here I was standing in the doctor's parking lot. It used to be open and we used to go paint there all the time. But now they have closed it. Oh, well. So this one you could potentially, maybe crop in to make it about the grass. So you would have all this grass. Now there's no tree here. So you'd have to figure out where to put the tree. Or you could decide to make it about the grass and forget about the tree. All right. So these are the photos that I have, and we need to choose 4 of them. So I'm going to go through them one more time and try to make, note, is it number 1, number 2, number 3? Which one do you want? And we're going to choose 4 of them. So as you choose them, maybe you could choose your order of preference. But all righty then. So this is number 1. This is actually Falmouth on the Cape. And this is Stageford Park in Gloucester. This is number 2. This is Farnham's Creek, number 3. This is Little River with a Candy House, number 4. This is Little River at low tide, number 5. This is Great Day, we'll say number 6. And this is the North Shore Art Association, number 7. All right, so we'll go again, and maybe I'll do a tally. How many people like which one? Where's my pencil? Oh, it's in the bag. It's in the bag. All right, so we'll start. So as I go through them, you can, all right, so what we're going to do is first, what I suggest is that you take your big, your big book and put it in the way that you want to do this, and do little, thumbnail sections of what 4 of them in one page. Don't make them too big. Probably so this book is 9 by 12. Probably if you make them 4 inches wide, the maximum would be a good idea. So if you have a ruler, you can do a ruler. Try to do the ratio. If you make them 4 inches wide, then make them 3 inches tall.
Okay.
If you
I'm just gonna go grab a ruler. Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah. The little grassy area on the left-hand side is what I really like. And beyond it, there is some grass, some trees. So the grassy area will be over here. And I'm gonna make it really, really big because I like this section. So this will be my grassy area. And then, can you see this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nah, maybe.
it's light.
I'm gonna do,
Faintly.
how about like this?
That's
Yeah,
better.
that's better.
So I'm making it very, very dark, but in reality, when I do my sketch, when I start it, I don't start with very dark marks so that I can adjust it and change it as I build it. But for the sake of you being able to see, then I'll do everything dark. And then as you can see, the land is right here. And then maybe the water, I've decided that the water will go this way. And then, and there's this grouping of trees back here. That's like this. Very, very small compared to the twigs. So maybe it goes up a little bit and it's got some funny shapes. So this here is definitely much darker than my twigs. So I go like this. I mean, there is some light on this, but right now I'm not too interested in indicating the light. I just want to capture the darks and the light. And then back here, there's like a mountain. It's a grouping of trees that are more in the back that are lighter. So I'll just indicate them here like this. And then for what's happening in the water, you know, there's this dark mark here, and my twigs are like this. At the bottom of the twigs, you know, there is a darker area, so I'm just going to indicate it like this. But I know that the top of the twigs are catching the light, and so therefore I'm not going to make them, I'm just going to leave this section as light. Now on the other side of the water, there's actually a bridge here that's like a tunnel. And then on the other side of the water it's got some nice patterns too. And so I'm just capturing this section here, which will be in the light also as much as this part. And but not as light as my water. So I'm going to put this as grass. And as I'm doing this now, I realize I didn't include my tree, but maybe I can do something about that. So this is grass, but very far away grass. This is my mountain. And then where could my tree go? I don't know. Maybe it could grow like right here on the tip of this. So maybe it's just a little creek river that's like this. I'm changing this, and so that my tree can grow right here.
Yeah. Wow.
And so just going to represent it like this.
Perfect.
So now I've done an interpretation of this. Of course, there's no tree on the photo, but you know, it could be an interesting composition that maybe I'll start doing. And as I'm looking at this, I can see this is a little too pointy, and I can trim it, you know, before I decide to change it. But the great thing about doing a little, you know, a little thumbnail is that, okay, it took 2 minutes, not so good. So I can do another one here if I want to do a different interpretation.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes it is to do an interpretation. So you could try and do the whole thing if you'd like, or, but you still only have 10 minutes to do this. So you've got 10 minutes to do this one now. So I'll give you 10 minutes to do a little thumbnail. And remember, if after 3 minutes you're done with the thumbnail, do another one.
My pencil.
So therefore you have another 10 minutes to do a 4x3 thumbnail on this one. It's not excellent, but it will do.
Very
So
nice.
here we go. This is Gretchen's
I
little
love how she did it.
thumbnails.
Very nice.
Very nice.
And we can see you put the tree
Thank
in
you.
a couple of, whoops, what's this?
I don't know. It's a red line. Somebody just get a red line?
Oh,
Yes,
shoot,
I
what
did
did I
red
do?
line.
I don't know how to.
I'm getting red lined.
It's me.
My
Yes,
art this class.
I think someone did an annotation. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
So
there's
how about we-
Yeah, don't
no.
leave, Janet.
I'm not touching anything, so I don't
There
think.
she is.
Can you hear me?
yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
I don't know how to get out of this screen. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get out of it.
Oh my God, that's kind of cool.
So I'm gonna try and save this. Wow. Yeah, you can annotate. So I could, if I wanted to, you know, mark a document. I'm just gonna save our document so it doesn't get lost. All right, so we have this annotation now. I'm gonna stop sharing, start sharing again. Sorry. Now it disappeared. That's in my document closed. Luckily, I saved it. Okay, here we go. So this is Gretchen work, and I apologize for the quality, but anyway, this is Gretchen work, and we can see you have put the tree in a couple, and in the others you decided not to put the tree, and that's quite all right. Now you do have, it's not completely evident where the little wispy marshes grass would be in the two on the right, but the two on the left, it's pretty obvious. And I like that in each of them, you didn't put the horizon right in the middle. You either, you put it top 1/3 down from the top, which is very good. So how did you like this exercise, Gretchen?
I liked it. I like doing thumbnails.
Yeah.
They're fun to do.
Yes, they are. Now, in each of them, if I were to be critical, because you are so
Please.
good, so I have to be even
Be
more
critical.
critical. So in each of them, in some of them, it's obvious where the darkest dark would be. In some of them, not so obvious. Like the one on the bottom left, we could see the darkest dark is those trees and behind the, behind the wispy grass. And
Yep.
the top left, we can see it's probably what's in the lower left corner. The one on the right hand side at the top, not sure where your darkest dark was. And we can see the two little people on the beach though. That's very cool. Gives a great sense of scale and gives us a center of attention.
It's really good.
Thank you.
So the next one we have is this one, which you obviously really like because you made it so beautiful.
I tried.
Yeah. So you didn't
did
put the
well.
tree, but you did do the mountains on either side and all the mud flat and the little grass in the foreground. Now, one thing that would make this even more interesting, although it's very beautiful as it is if you vary the height of the mountain, it's not mountains, I know it's grouping of trees, either on the one on the right or the one on the left.
Okay.
And make them, instead of make them equal height, maybe one would be could be higher than the other. And by making one taller than the other, then your sky would not be so much of a stripe at the top.
Right.
It would create more of a design to the horizon that is created between the sky and the grouping of trees. I know the photo was like this, but you just got to take it one step further. But this is really
I like it. I like that idea.
Yeah. All right. So now the next person,
Oh, no.
I forget who this is.
It's me.
This is you, Leslie. Now,
Yeah.
okay. So it makes it a lot more constructive when the student doesn't say, oh no, and it's really bad. So let's try and be constructive about our comments.
Oh, yeah, I like the comments, but.
Makes for a more positive class and more appealing to everybody.
Okay.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yes, and yes, exactly. Be kind to yourself. So did you use a pencil or did you use a pen?
Pencil. Pencil.
Well, I am very impressed at how dark you have been able to get your darkest dark.
Really?
Very good. Yes, because it's rare that we see that. Now let's see, which do you prefer? Which do you like best?
Oh, I kind of like the one top right.
Oh,
Top right with the tree, the single tree.
Yeah. Add more stuff.
That one is actually, it's more simple and sometimes less is more. We can see that, you know, where your tree would be, and the tree is, of course, the center of attention in that one. And so I like that one very much as well. And you eliminated the background mountain, which
Yeah.
is probably not needed. And you kept only the rocks, and you didn't put the little wispy grass, but maybe it's not needed in this one.
Yeah.
So,
Our time ran out.
yeah, well, time sometimes run out. Now, in terms of the one on the right-hand side at the bottom, you did include a tree, and behind it is another very dark grouping
that's
of
not good.
trees. So if you wanted this to be your painting, you know, where you added the tree, you could have planted that tree a little lower and make that tree just a little bigger so it touches the top of the frame,
Okay,
and make it darker than the mountain behind it. So that mountain behind it, or the grouping of trees behind it, then
yeah,
you could make it a little lighter, like maybe a mid-tone gray. And so therefore your tree would come forward.
okay, thank you.
And remember that when you did, you know, when you do the water, so did you include water here or flat?
Yeah, the water is in the middle there. It's like, it didn't get done, but you see with that shape that looks like a table? That right there is the beginning of the marsh, the
Okay.
water, and then it goes over to beside that bunch of trees.
Right.
Where the tree blends in with the tree. So it's gonna go all the way around.
I like the overall composition. You put a couple of clouds in the sky here. You have the mountain on the left is much, you know, it's not as high as the grouping of trees on the right. So it makes a nice variation there. And you have all of the marshes, the grass in the front. So that grouping of grass in the front could continue even where you have the lower left corner gray area.
Yep.
And then you'd have a painting.
Thank you.
And so the only comment I'm gonna talk about is the lower left corner painting, thumbnail. So
Not my
you
favorite.
have 4 groupings of grass there. And
Yeah,
what I would recommend is the grass in the front be taller and the grass in the middle of the thumbnail be shorter. So therefore, there's more of a sense of depth.
okay, good,
All right, next person.
thank you.
You're welcome. So this one is, let's see. This one is Janet. Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
So I
that-
apologize for the, you know, the quality of the.
oh, yeah, don't worry. I'm still learning how to use my, the
No, I
iPhone.
can see it.
Okay,
I-
so we
I
can
even
still
went
see
and
your
got
stuff.
some bling on. I figured, oh, I got a new one. I got a fancy case.
Yes.
with some
All right.
bling.
So let's talk about the thumbnails. So
Yes.
which do you prefer, the 4 thumbnails?
Top left.
Which one do I prefer? I'm not really sure because I did kind of want to get a tree in every one,
Yes.
which I did.
Well, I like the top right corner the most.
Oh, okay.
Where it's very simple.
Okay.
And you have definitely the darkest dark is a tree trunk in the mountain in the back,
Okay.
or maybe it's trees.
Yes.
And you know, the whole zone, you know, in front of the house going forward, you know, towards the bottom.
Well,
Yeah.
All this grassy area that we know of, and you just indicated, you know, kind of like some kind of design that could be very interesting to paint.
Okay.
And on the lower right corner, you have a great design of the creek there.
Okay.
One thing that I would say is, as the creek goes higher, so from the bottom is the part of the thumbnail that is the closest to the viewer.
Okay, yes,
So as the creek goes higher, it should go thinner and thinner and thinner because
Okay.
it goes further away from the viewer. But I like that you indicated like the mud flat on either side's darker and the grassy area is lighter, and you
Okay.
put the tree in.
okay. All right, thank you.
All right. So I apologize, I don't have time to talk about everything because
That's
we're
That's
fine.
running out. Okay, so this is Janet's.
So I really didn't worry about the tree except for the top right.
Yes.
I was so focused on learning to do the shading.
Yeah, me too.
Which
Um,
did you prefer?
Bottom right,
Okay, and why is that?
because I put more attention to detail.
Okay.
I guess the shading.
There's another reason why I like that one very much is you definitely indicated where the darkest dark is. And so therefore it helps the eye to travel around around this whole thumbnail. One thing I would say is, so we can clearly see the mountain on the right and the mountain on the left, and they're about the same distance from the viewer. So it would be normal that they would maybe be the same mid-tone or dark, but the mountain that's right in between the two should be lighter because it's even further away.
It's further away. Okay.
And this will help to give the sense of depth.
And I didn't have time to do any water. So that's just a mud flat in the middle.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And then I
But
realized the shadow in the front of that mud flat was
Yeah.
reflecting off the water, but I don't have any water. So
yeah, but you did indicate, the side of the grassy area on the left there. So that
Yep.
gives a nice design. But I do like the one with the tree, and we can clearly see where your
Yeah,
grassy area
That's
is,
true.
and you could put your tree there. All right, so we still have 1 minute. I'll just take a moment to show what I did.
oh, wow.
They're
oh
beautiful.
boy.
yes.
It is a real tree.
So this was a 2-minute example that I did. And here, see, I didn't worry about the tree really.
Oh, look
Yeah.
at the house. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
This
there
is
it is.
actually, it's a bridge. I don't have a photo, but there's a little bridge here, but it looks like a house, so why not?
Yes,
No, no,
there
I'm
is a-
I'm looking at the one on the
I did-
bottom. Shit, I
Oh.
love it.
Yes, I remembered there was a bridge.
Yes. And so here I have, see, I put a tree here, and I eliminated any kind of tree on the left, and I decided to put the faraway mountain only on this side, not so much behind the tree. And then the water
Okay.
goes from dark in the far away area to lighter towards the beach. Having the two little people on this beach is a very good idea because it gets sense of scale, and I didn't put them in. But I opened up the grass here to let people in and let the viewer in.
Ah,
And I
Oh,
love the rocks on the
oh,
left.
nice.
Yes.
Just indicated the rocks. And I simplified this rock grouping, of course, because it's very complex.
Yes.
And this is the one with the little house.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
love it.
really
That's what I was
nice.
trying to do.
And I added a tree, but it's not obvious how to indicate all this water and the grass. And so I kind of indicated like this, and then I did the last one. This one is a good one because this one, I did it like this, whoops, on purpose, because this one is all wrong. I want us to, whoops, it keeps moving, sorry. Okay, here we go. This one is all wrong. And why is that so? Now, can you tell me what doesn't work in this one?
The trees and the mountain, it's like even a little bit. You're not looking at anything interesting.
The tree is actually, this tree is our tree. I put it very small. Originally, I had it right here, which
Okay.
was even worse because it was right in the middle.
Uh-huh.
But it's not that interesting, is it?
No,
What about this sky?
Oh,
much.
yeah, there's just too much.
Too much.
Too much sky?
Right.
Nothingness.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing happening there.
Unless you put in some interesting clouds.
You could. I mean,
You
I
need
think
something.
what's happening is with this line that's created here, this one like this,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
it's almost creating like the bottom part and the top part are almost equal
Right.
size.
Uh,
So it's not that interesting. If
Okay.
we were to maybe go like this,
Much better.
it's a little bit better,
Yeah.
although the horizon line is almost in the middle. And if I went like this, then it's even more interesting now.
Wow.
See?
I sort of like it with the big sky.
Ah, you like it with the big, I actually have done it with the big sky and without the big sky. But this is Little River. And I just,
Oh,
that's the last one. So I cropped in and I chose certain areas and I just went, well, let's put some water here and, so I simplified things. But it's just to show how you can definitely do an interpretation of a photo. But this one, yeah, the tree doesn't work. I think if I remove the tree, it would be better if I cropped it in. So anyway, just to show you how even doing a thumbnail, it could sometimes not come out. And then what I would do before I painted, I wouldn't try to paint this. Then I would do another thumbnail instead of attacking this, because this is really not a very strong composition.
Okay.
All
the
right.
challenge is the lightest lights, the darkest darks, making sure the water's